The Montana sky stretched endlessly above Logan Carter as he stood on the porch of his late grandfather's ranch, a cigarette dangling between his fingers. The wind carried the scent of pine and distant rain, but all Logan could smell was the smoke and gunpowder from a war that wouldn't let him go. It had been a year since he'd come back home from Afghanistan, but home didn't feel the same anymore. The once comforting landscape of rolling hills and rustling trees felt hollow, distant, just like him. His only companions were the silence and the whiskey bottle that sat by his boots. Logan had returned to the ranch, hoping to outrun the ghosts that haunted his nights, but they clung to him, whispering memories of the men he couldn't save, the choices he couldn't undo. Then one morning, everything changed. Logan had been mending a broken fence when he saw it. A wild Mustang stood on the ridge beyond the pasture, its dark mane whipping in the wind. Its muscles were tense, its eyes wide and wary, as if it knew it didn't belong here. Neither did Logan. He watched the horse for a long time, their eyes locked across the distance. Then, without warning, the Mustang bolted, disappearing into the trees as quickly as it had come. But Logan couldn't stop thinking about it. Over the following days, the Mustang returned, watching him from the hills, but never coming closer. Logan felt a strange kinship with the animal, wild, restless, and untethered. One evening, after too many sleepless nights, he stood at the fence line, staring out into the darkening woods. "You keep coming back," he muttered to the shadows. "Guess we're both stubborn." The next morning, he left an apple near the edge of the fence. And that's how it began. At first, the Mustang wouldn't come near him. It lingered in the distance, watching, waiting. Logan would sit quietly, sometimes talking to the wind, other times just letting the silence hang between them. He wasn't sure why he was doing it. Maybe he saw something of himself in the creature, a creature that had no ties, no roots, only the instinct to survive. Weeks passed, and eventually the horse came closer. It would eat the apples he left, though it never let Logan get too near. But the distance felt less empty. One afternoon, Logan sat on the ground, staring at the setting sun when he felt it. Soft, hesitant breath on his shoulder. The Mustang stood beside him, close enough to touch. Logan didn't move. "Guess you're braver than me," he whispered. The town wasn't so kind about the Mustang's presence. "You'd be smart to call animal control," said Frank Dawson, a local rancher who had seen the Mustang near his property. "That thing's a menace. They say it spooked a rider a few years back, broke the poor guy's ribs." Logan shook his head. "He's not hurting anyone." Frank scoffed. "Ain't about that, son. A wild horse like that don't belong here. Sooner or later, you'll see." Logan clenched his fists, feeling the familiar anger simmer beneath his skin. He didn't owe anyone an explanation, but the Mustang had become his only sense of purpose, something to focus on other than the memories clawing at him every night. Still, the warnings lingered in his mind. One night, Logan woke drenched in sweat, heart pounding. The nightmare was always the same: sand, gunfire, shouts of "man down," and the suffocating weight of failure pressing against his chest. He stumbled outside into the cool night air, his breathing ragged. The Mustang stood in the moonlight, watching him with eyes that seemed to hold all the sorrow in the world. Without thinking, Logan approached slowly and, for the first time, reached out and touched its mane. The horse didn't flinch. Logan swallowed hard, his voice hoarse. "You get it, don't you?" In that quiet moment, Logan realized he wasn't the only one trying to find a way back to himself. As weeks passed, Logan started working with the Mustang, earning its trust little by little. He built a small corral near the barn, offering it shelter without forcing it inside. Sarah, an old childhood friend who ran the local horse sanctuary, dropped by one afternoon, arms crossed and skeptical. "You sure about this, Logan?" she asked, watching as the Mustang trotted in slow circles, staying close to the fence line, but never straying too far. Logan shrugged. "I don't know, but he's still here." Sarah softened. "Maybe he sees something in you too." Logan didn't answer, but deep down, he knew she was right. The breakthrough came on an early morning when Logan, with gentle hands and steady patience, placed a bridle over the Mustang's head for the first time. The horse snorted, but didn't resist. With a deep breath, Logan climbed onto its back. At first, the Mustang stood frozen, but as Logan clicked his heels gently, it moved, hesitant at first, then faster, racing across the field. The wind rushed past them, and for the first time in what felt like forever, Logan felt free. As they came to a stop, Logan buried his face in the horse's mane, whispering, "I think we both needed this." But healing is never linear. One afternoon, the Mustang spooked during a storm, breaking through the fence and galloping wildly across the fields. Logan chased after him, his heart hammering in his chest. When he found the horse near a rocky incline, panting and exhausted, Logan approached slowly. He knelt beside him, running a hand down the animal's trembling flank. "I know," he murmured, "sometimes you gotta run." And in that moment, Logan realized he wasn't talking about the horse anymore. Months later, the Mustang, now named Valor, had become a permanent fixture on the ranch. Logan found himself offering to help Sarah with the horse sanctuary, teaching other veterans how to work with horses to find peace in the same way he had. One afternoon, as Logan stood by the fence watching Valor graze, Sarah joined him. "You've come a long way," she said gently. Logan exhaled, eyes fixed on the horizon. "Yeah, we both have." In taming Valor, Logan had found something he hadn't felt in years: purpose, connection, and the realization that healing wasn't about forgetting the past, but finding something worth moving forward for. And as he watched Valor running free across the fields, Logan finally understood. Redemption doesn't come all at once. It comes in quiet moments, in second chances, and in the bond between two souls who refuse to be broken.